Good afternoon. We had the unfortunate opportunity to investigate a very heinous crime here. Apparently, a young lady who resides in Louisville, Kentucky, with her boyfriend, fell victim to what started out as domestic assault and ended with her untimely death. This was a particular heinous crime in that the offender in this case had dismembered her body. This suspect then, after sitting on the body for what we now believe to be at least 30 days, transported some of these remains to Markham, Illinois. In early reports are a suitcase, a tote, and maybe a bag. Some of the bags contained internal organs, which would make this very heinous. Subsequent to that, he arrived at a relative's home, and all of the relatives here in Markham were unknowing of what situation they were involved in. The suspect left that residence to attend the library here in Markham, at which time the family members notified the Markham Police Department. Our officers responded and was informed of what the family members had discovered inside of one of the suitcases, which was what appeared to be human remains. Our officers made apprehension of the suspect. There was no incidents concerning that. He was brought here to the Markham Police Department. Our investigation began. We were in constant contact with officials from Louisville, Kentucky. Subsequently, 2 investigators from their homicide division arrived and assisted with this case. After a thorough investigation, we learned that this homicide occurred in Louisville, Kentucky, after or maybe even before a missing person report was generated in Louisville, Kentucky. A coroner's autopsy was conducted this morning, which verified that the lower half remains was transported here. We also have a human head and some organs. I will not release the name of the female victim at this time. It's pending notification to the family and a positive identification as that the upper torso is actually still in Kentucky. That has been discovered approximately 2 hours ago. The suspect here at the Markham Police Department has now been charged as a fugitive fleeing prosecution. What's next for that individual is he will be held for an extradition hearing and then transported back to Louisville. There is no danger to the citizens or guests of the city of Markham. This residence is safe. This is an isolated incident, and there is no public safety issues at this time. I can now take your questions.
So you said that the upper torso of the woman's body was discovered in Kentucky. Where was it discovered?
So the offender in this case, although initially was not cooperative, has now became cooperative, and he did give a full statement to both the Markham Police Department and the Louisville, Kentucky Police Department. He gave the location of where the upper torso could be found, and in fact it was found.
Was it hidden somewhere, or was it in an apartment?
It's in a park not far away from where they lived.
So we can confirm that the victim in this case and the suspect were in a romantic relationship between one another?
That's correct. There is also reports of prior domestic violence history between the two, which is very unfortunate.
Any idea, Chief, the last time this suspect was in your city of Markham? Obviously, he resides here, resides in Kentucky, but have family in Markham. Does he frequent often, or was this a planned trip? I mean, was it just a spur of the moment visit, or did he essentially plan this for weeks to come?
So we can only speculate at this time if it was a spur of the moment or was this a planned trip. It does not appear that he frequents Markham. The family itself is really not from Markham. They've been here approximately 8 years. There's no reported history of him visiting his family here in Markham. So who knows at this point what his mindset was into visiting Markham.
When did he arrive in Markham?
September the 11th.
Via Greyhound bus?
He did transport from a Greyhound station in Louisville to downtown Chicago.
And was there no smell associated with the remains of these bags? You said they were in 3 bags, correct?
Well, the early reports differ, but we can only gather from the evidence collected that there had to be at least one container and one container containing the skull. And there's also some early reports that the family members were complaining of a smell.
But the bags were loaded onto that Greyhound bus?
That is what our investigation revealed, yes.
Speaking about the remains and the half portions being in Illinois, the other in Kentucky, can you speak about the process, if you are aware, of what it takes to make a positive identification on this woman, since you have half of her body in Illinois and the other half in another state?
So this case is complex and very difficult from the onset of it. What the remains we have here, we have the advantage of dental records, and then of course there's DNA. Of course her upper torso remains in Kentucky, so the level of their forensics I'm sure mirrors ours. So I'm quite sure that there's going to be a positive identification about this victim.
And the two live together in Kentucky?
Yes, there's some other reports from out of Kentucky, which I consider very reliable, that they did live together.
Did they have children?
None that was reported to us.
Okay, but boyfriend and girlfriend not married?
Boyfriend and girlfriend not married.
Chief, you mentioned that the suspect in this case is being cooperative. Did the suspect mention to investigators at all what was his intentions by bringing this woman's remains here to Illinois?
Well, he indicated that, as grotesque as it might sound, that he still wanted to be with her, at least part of her. Yeah.
Do you know how old she is?
If memory serves me, she's probably 31 years of age.
Are you at this time able to identify the suspect? You said he's been charged. Can you give us his name?
Let me see. Mr. Melvin Martin Jr.
And do you have a mugshot for him that you can share with us?
I do.
How old is Melvin Martin?
He's approximately 30 years of age.
Do you know when he's due next in court? Because now the extradition process begins. That's the next step.
That is the next step. We're in the process of handling that as we speak. That is also a very lengthy, involved process. Hopefully, he will go before a judge tomorrow morning.
Can you talk about the family, specifically, he was here visiting his parents or mom, we understand. Can you talk about their reaction? Obviously, they were cooperating with you, but their take on what happened in their home.
They were very paramount in closing this case, in that they participating in alerting the Markham Police Department of a crime, and then, of course, they cooperated fully. I think that without their cooperation in this case, our investigation would have greatly been hampered.
So he was visiting his parents here.
He was.
Did the family know of the young lady, or been there, or talked to her, have any knowledge of her and her relationship?
I really don't think that anyone got into that aspect of it. Just from what I know of the investigation, I would have to say no.
And where was he arrested? Was he arrested at the library? Or?
He was arrested at the library.
Is there any indication that you have at this point, have you been able to look at his computer search? Was he on the computer looking for something? What do you suspect or know at this point about his whereabouts at that library?
Yeah, sure. So conducive to the investigation, we were able to retrieve, there's several letters from the IRS within his baggage. And in fact, at the library, he was on the irs.gov website.
And the arrest was yesterday?
That's correct. I have a photograph here. I could send you a digital picture if you like. Sure.
Yeah. We can it and then also send it to us.
Sure.
It's back up.
All right. I got another one too.
Just hold it up.
Hold it up. Get some tape here. Look at some tape, probably get some tape.
And as we're looking at the picture, Chief, is there anything you can say about this suspect, his demeanor, his behavior, and you said he's cooperative, anything else you can